Hello and welcome to the GTA Online car review. We're doing a double review today. It's going to be the Insurgent versus the armoured Kuruma. I won't be including the ARM variant of the Insurgent due to it being a Pegasus vehicle, and as such a player is unable to store it in their garage. But for quick reference, it's basically the same vehicle, only with a slightly weaker armour set, and has a powerful machine gun on the back which can be very effective at destroying pretty much anything that isn't armoured. It is also effective against aircraft. The machine gun can be used by all of its passengers. Let's begin with the basics. The Insurgent costs $675,000 and the armoured Kuruma costs $525,000 to purchase. The Kuruma has one driver and one passenger, whilst the Insurgent can carry one driver and 5 passengers. Or, for the ARM version, there's 7. Wait, what, 7? Yeah, according to the GTA wiki, it can carry one driver, one gunner, and 7 passengers. The Kuruma can be unlocked by beating the first heist mission, the Fleecy job, and the Insurgent being unlocked after beating the third heist, the Humane Labs raid. As I said earlier, these cars are classed as standard vehicles and as such are stored in the player's garage for easy, non-hostile, convenient access. So, on to performance. We both know why you're watching this video. You want to compare the PvP performance of both vehicles. Well, some performance basics. Firstly, the Kuruma is very fast, whilst the Insurgent can be outrun by any half-decent car, usually sports class or better. So chasing people around in the Kuruma is much easier than the Insurgent due to its higher top speed. However, what the Insurgent lacks in speed, it more than makes up for its tank-like characteristics. In my personal experience, I've found that no matter how fast you can be outrun in an Insurgent, it's always possible to stalk them, usually because they either have a crash or simply give up running away to turn around and fight you, which is when the Insurgent really comes into play. You see, the Insurgent is really heavy. So heavy in fact that the cargo bob helicopter is unable to lift it, which also means that nothing can really stop the thing in its tracks. It will smash everything out of its way, which is also handy for using as a battering ram against other players in cars. You can ram them very hard, causing them to fly off in said direction, often doing flips and just being unable to escape. So all in all, on this subject of speed versus weight, it's really up to your choice and playstyle. You can chase them and keep up with the target, or will you outlast them in a chase being an unstoppable hunk of metal? So, on to the combatability of these vehicles. Which is better? Well, here's some basics for the combat side of things. The Insurgent is resistant to explosives whilst being weak to bullet fire. The Kuruma being the opposite, being taken down by just one explosive, but is resistant to bullets. Again, it's another player style choice, or more specifically what enemy players like to use as weapons against you. Anyone who tries to take down an Insurgent with a rocket launcher will have to hit the vehicle directly about 4 to 6 times before finally exploding and killing anyone inside, but the Insurgent has no bulletproof windows, which means one good shot to the head to the driver and they will be down and out. On the other side, the Kuruma is very resistant to bullet fire. Its windows, front, side and back are all resistant to bullet fire, and are all very small targets for enemy players to shoot at anyway whilst it's moving, such as while the occupants are doing a drive-by. Its weakness is one good placement of an explosive like a rocket or a sticky bomb and it will instantly get destroyed. So with all this in mind, let's talk about some of the different situations that both vehicles could come in handy. Firstly, the Insurgent. If there's a player flying around in a helicopter such as a Buzzard or a Savage, then the Insurgent is more than capable of tanking all that they have to throw at you. And with the difficulty of even adept pilots hitting you with anything can be difficult at times. Not to mention that they would have to hit you with 5 or 6 rockets to finally take you down. Whilst you're safe and protected inside the vehicle, you're able to take pot shots at the enemy and slowly damage them until either the pilot is killed or the engine fails and they crash. With the vehicle being resistant to explosives, the only thing you have to be careful of is bullet fire. But to a lot of people they assume that a quick rocket blast will do the trick, only to be surprised when the vehicle keeps charging at them at top speed through the smoke and fire that they just made. Drive-bys are relatively safe to do in the Insurgent due to the zero risk of being blown up by people on foot, but as stated earlier, those who aim at the driver with normal gunfire are more than likely to end your kill streak. You can avoid this from happening by making yourself a difficult target, by giving the vehicle tinted windows to make the inside harder to see, and just using evasive driving maneuvers. So onto the Kuruma. With it being resistant to bullets and weak to explosives, doing drive-bys in this vehicle can be risky at times. Most people use bullets to attack, but often finding you're in an armoured vehicle, most people resort to using rockets, grenades or mines to take you down. So you might get away with killing a couple players, but they will soon know how to get their revenge. The windows aren't completely indestructible either. After a little while of constant fire on the same panel, they will wear out and the bullets do pass through on the inside where the driver's head could be, resulting in a fatality. The risk of this is low, but thinking that you're able to tank an infinite amount of bullets to the window is not advised. Again, with the Insurgent, evasive driving is advised, especially if you see someone pull out a rocket launcher. Fighting anything than rival cars is not advised, as the armour in the Kuruma is not as durable as the Insurgent. Being taken down with just one rocket, most aircraft will make easy work of the Kuruma. Even if they only use the machine guns, their high damage can be too much for the Kuruma to handle. But with that in mind, the Kuruma's high acceleration and top speed will make it a much more difficult target to hit than the Insurgent, so it's really down to player playstyles. So let's have a rundown of both cars' strengths and weaknesses. You can see that the Kuruma, whilst being an incredible street fighter, it is weak to pretty much everything else, whilst the Insurgent on the other hand is like a really strong turtle. With only a few weak spots for players to take advantage of, you're pretty balanced so far. The Kuruma is really fast for an armoured car, being able to keep up with high-end non-armoured cars in the sports class, featuring great acceleration and top speed. Whilst the Insurgent on the other hand is a little too slow to be chasing people around it, but it can be quick enough to keep people on their toes, so for speed the Kuruma is definitely the winner here. Whilst both vehicles will get you from A to B safely, the Kuruma only has a limited amount of give before it will become a hindrance for its driver. A few gunfights here and there in one trip will wear down its armour to the point of uselessness. It's unable to fight much else other than rival cars, and definitely not a Rhino tank or an aircraft. Whilst the Insurgent with its incredible armour can withstand a ton more wallop than the Kuruma. It can even go up against a Rhino tank. It'll lose if it hangs around said tank, but you can always use it to escape the Rhino due to its higher top speed. Aircraft can't even touch this beast, as the armour is too much for just one helicopter to take you down. The amount of time the Insurgent driver and its passengers, up to 5, has to pepper an enemy aircraft to pieces with a small gunfire is more than enough for said aircraft to take you down. On top of that, the Insurgent is able to smash almost all the traffic out of the way if the driver is unable to avoid it or is just plain lazy to do so. So being able to smash the heck out of all traffic is also a plus. Also, you can smash and explode aeroplanes just by driving into them, which is pretty awesome. In the end, the Insurgent is just an overall better armoured vehicle to have. It's an incredible vehicle to have laying around in your garage, ready for action. And hey, if you enjoyed watching this video, you hope you can leave a like and subscribe for loads more GTA guides and stuff. Well, see you next time.